Welcome back. So we've got some really interesting news coming out of War Thunder. And essentially they're introducing a brand new system for events. Essentially, the first of these is going to start on the 25th, so in 2 days. And what they're looking to do is run continuous events, at least from what this sounds like. They're going to run continuous events all year, and they're going to be consecutive, or yeah, I guess they said consecutive, wherever they can with real life events. So, I mean, continuous may not be accurate, but that's the way this sounds to me because they're going to be single vehicle events that last 12 to 18 days. And they mentioned wherever they finish, there'll be a few days off, then the next one will begin. So I imagine what this is effectively going to do, it's going to take it from the system we have right now, where we have a big winter event, a big spring event, a big summer event, a big fall event, and then occasionally we have like little itty bitty ones sprinkled in between. And I think what this is going to do is turn it into kind of what we'd seen for a little while in Enlisted, where you have an event, you have like half a week off, you have another event, so on and so forth. Like looking at the like summer to fall and Enlisted, we had like a over the summer we had a paratrooper event, then we had a little bit of time off. We had another paratrooper event, we had a little bit of time off. We had like some little like not really important events. I think there was one that gave out some planes back when the Pacific was a campaign. Then we got another paratrooper event. Then we got a little bit of time off. Then we had the anniversary event. Then we had a little bit of time off. Then we had the paratrooper event. Then we immediately had the winter event with the assaulters. And I think they're going to take that system of having events running constantly and bring it to War Thunder. Now, the question is probably why run events constantly like this? And I think it's a combination of two things. Number one, I think it's a marketing thing because if you constantly have events, you constantly have a reason for people to keep playing. The other reason is because people have been complaining for a couple of years now about the events, and complaining. Well, I mean, complaining is accurate, but it's probably not the right term. Criticizing, because to be honest, the War Thunder events they've been very cookie cutter and they've become kind of bland and boring. And I understand that they need to shake things up. I don't know if this is the right way to do it, but it's certainly a way to do it. I think if it were me, I would have made the events still be three vehicle events, but make the requirements significantly lower and make the events themselves shorter. But I understand that as a company, the goal of Gaijin is to run these events that get people to play the game, not necessarily to actually give free stuff to people, but instead to make them play the game, and because they play the game, they may want to actually spend more money on the game, either because they have a fear of missing out on the event, or, and I think this is probably the more common vector, just to get them to spend on things that are normally in the shop. The only issue here that I see, well, actually, there's a couple issues I see here. Number one is that this is probably going to cause a lot of player burnout. This is an issue that we've had in Enlisted because there are constant events, and at a certain point, you kind of have to accept that you're going to just miss out on certain things because you're going to take time away from the game here or there, either because you have things going on in real life or because there are other new and interesting games like Pal World right now. A lot of people are playing that. Very cool game. So there's definitely going to be burnout because of it. The other issue that I see is down here in the section. The amount required will range from 35 to 45,000, usually every 2 days. Which I understand that's like 20,000, give or take, each day, which isn't the end of the world, but that didn't fix the core problem that right now with the events, not only are they boring because of how standardized they are, but they also have a pretty poor return on time invested. A European Canadian put out a video the other day where he was discussing the time played versus the value gained with Gaijin coin versus real world currencies. It's actually a pretty interesting video. Um, if you're not familiar with the topic, definitely go look at it. But effectively, you get more value just by going and working literally any job that you can find in like the Western world than you do by playing these events. So it's more economical for people normally to just buy the vehicles once they go up on the marketplace. And I think a big chunk I haven't gone and done a deep analysis on these events, but like my initial take is if they didn't take so much time to do, like if they were 20,000 every 2 days, so you needed to get 10,000 each day, I think that would be much less egregious. And I think there would also probably be less burnout. Because realistically, then, your average player can probably get on and play on like Tuesday and then skip Wednesday. So they don't have to play the game every day. I mean, another way that they could solve this, and something that I really wish they would do and I've been advocating for a while, is just to stop giving out specific event rewards with each of these. Basically, every time they run a new event, they should release a new reward into the pool. But every time you complete an event, you should get a token, and then you should be able to spend that token on any of the event rewards that have ever come out in War Thunder. Would it tank values on the market? Yeah, probably. Would that be a bad thing? No, absolutely not. It's absolutely absurd how expensive some things are on the Gaijin market. Like it's mind-boggling. It's beyond comprehension. It's stupid as all get out. I say this as somebody who has some of them as well, like the IS-7, for example. Like, there's no reason, or the Object 279, there's no reason why they should cost as much as they do. But anyway, the point here is that they could make a couple of quality of life changes to these events, and it would probably be for the betterment of the player base. But I don't think they're going to do that. That being said, it's interesting that they only have one vehicle in each event. That might help with avoiding burnout, because I'm sure that they're going to rotate between tanks, planes, and naval. Well, I should say tanks, aircraft, and naval, because they might run more event helicopters this way. But that might actually help people avoid burnout, because if you're somebody who plays only planes, for example, and they come out with a tank and they come out with a boat, well, that's like 2 months that you don't have to play the game, if you don't want to. Likewise, if you are a tank-only guy, or, for example, if they come out with another plane like they have for the last God knows how many events, that's just a copy of a plane in the tech tree with a second seat, then you might be able to skip the plane one. Like, I play planes quite a bit. I'm not gonna lie, I skipped the Mirage, I skipped the A7, although the A7 probably had a little bit of value. I skipped the Jaguar, I skipped the F105, just because they're all things that I already have in the tech tree, and I just can't be bothered to sit here and grind this out for hours, and I don't want to spend like 20 or 30 bucks on a vehicle that's the same as what I already have. It would be one thing if they were like fundamentally different modifications of those aircraft, or if they played significantly differently, but outside of like the A7, they're all basically just copies, and a lot of them are worse copies of what's in the tech tree. I think the A7 is the only one that stands out as potentially, not potentially, it is better than the tech tree alternative, but that's just because of what it can carry. So yeah, let me know what you think of this new system. My only other curiosity is whether they base the system off of what they have in Enlisted, or if we're going to see a more aggressive event cycle going into the new year in Enlisted as well. But yeah, let me know what you think down below. It's certainly interesting news, and I'm going to go into it tentatively optimistic. I know that I don't play every aspect of War Thunder regularly, and I know that they've come out with a lot of event vehicles in the past that were just huge busts for me that I didn't care about, so it probably won't affect me too much when it comes to Burnout, but I know after what we've seen in Enlisted that there's going to be a lot of discussion in a few months of people talking about Burnout because they'll have felt like they need to get every event vehicle, especially because those event vehicles are only one at a time. So now even if you don't play naval, there's more incentive to actually unlock the vehicle because you've got nothing else event-wise to grind at the time. So we'll see. As per usual, get out there, kick ass, take names, and win your games.